Today, we talk about magic, an ancient occult practice. Magic, sometimes also known as witchcraft, is the claim of manipulating supernatural forces to produce effects desired by its practitioner. The practice is often influenced by religious ideas, mysticism, occultism, psychology, and science. The costliness of magic is not proven. For example, Israel Regardie, the secretary of Aleister Crowley, maintained that the only effect of magic is psychological. Magic is a spiritual or paranormal practice that involves the use of belief, rituals, and symbolic objects to produce changes in the physical world or in people's perception. This definition can vary depending on culture, religion, or spirituality. But generally, magic is seen as a means of influencing or controlling spiritual or natural forces to achieve a desired goal. The history of magic is very vast and can be found in many cultures and religions around the world, including in ancient Egypt, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and in the practices of European pagans. In medieval Europe, magic was often associated with witchcraft, and witches were persecuted and burned at the stake during the Inquisition. There are several types of magic, including ceremonial magic, natural magic, runic magic, evocative magic, and folk magic. Ceremonial magic is based on the use of complex rituals and symbolic objects, such as candles, aromas, symbols, and incantations, for the purpose of producing a certain effect. Ceremonial magic, or ritual magic, sometimes also called high magic or learned magic, is a broad term used in the context of Hermeticism or Western esotericism to designate a great diversity of long, elaborate, and complex magical rituals. It is called so because the procedures are characterized ceremonially and many accessories are necessary for the practitioner. It can also be seen as an elaboration of ritual magic, and in most cases is even synonymous with it. Popularized by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, it comes from philosophical and occult schools of thought, such as Hermetic Kabbalah, Enochian magic, Thelema, as well as magic derived from various grimoires. Renaissance magic, a term appears in the period of Renaissance magic of the 10th century and refers to practices described in various medieval and Renaissance grimoires, and in collections such as that of Johannes Hartlieb. Georg Pictor uses the term as a synonym for Gatia. The translator, James Sanford, included the ceremonial magical parts of Gazi in Theurgy in his 1569 translation of Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa S. 1526 work, De Incertidine, et. Vanitate Scientiarum. For Agrippa, ceremonial magic was used in a sense opposite to natural magic. Although he had doubts regarding natural magic related to astrology, alchemy, and what today has become a field of natural sciences such as botany, he was nevertheless prepared to accept it as the highest pinnacle of the philosophy of nature. Ceremonial magic, on the other hand, which included all sorts of communications with spirits, such as necromancy and witchcraft, was denounced by him as a lack of pious respect toward God. Beginning with the Romantic movement in the 19th century, a number of individuals and groups revitalized ceremonial magic. Natural magic is based on the use of natural energy and forces, such as water, air, fire, and earth, to achieve a goal. Runic magic involves the use of ancient runes and their associated symbols for the purpose of producing an effect. Evocative magic involves calling or invoking spirits or supernatural beings to achieve a goal. Folk magic is based on the traditional beliefs and practices of certain cultures or communities, such as witchcraft in West Africa or shamanism in North America. The practice of ritual magic most often requires various accessories produced or consecrated for this special use, which are necessary for a certain ritual or for linked rituals. They can be a symbolic representation of the magician's psychological elements or of metaphysical concepts. Regarding grimoires, a grimoire is a record of magic. Books of this genre are records of magical experiences and philosophical meditations that contain instructions for invoking angels or demons, performing divination, and obtaining magical powers. and which have been circulated in Europe since the Middle Ages. It is believed that magicians were frequently accused by the Christian Church, so their journals were hidden to prevent the burning of the holder. But it is also known that the church and rabbis maintained records of demonic activity and exorcism in their own magical books that were used for similar records. Such books contain astrological correspondences, lists of angels and demons, instructions for charms, spells, and for exorcisms, mixtures of medicines, summoning elemental entities, and producing talismans. Magical books in almost all circumstances, especially books of magical spells, are also called grimoires. Despite the fact that magic has been practiced throughout history, it has often been regarded with skepticism and even fear by certain religions and cultures. In some religions, such as Christianity, magic is considered a demonic practice and is forbidden. In other cultures, magic is seen as acceptable, but it is still viewed with suspicion and is often associated with negative actions or deception. There are also controversies regarding the effectiveness of magic. Some people believe that magic can produce real changes in the physical world and in people's perception, while others believe that magic is simply an illusion or a technique of autosuggestion. Magic is a spiritual or paranormal practice that has existed in many cultures and religions throughout history. There are several types, as we have seen, of magic, and its perception varies depending on culture, religion, or spirituality. Despite these controversies, magic continues to be practiced and studied by some individuals who believe in its power. Historically, the authorities of Christian states have condemned magic under the name of maleficium, starting from the Christianization of the Roman Empire. Even before the Christianization of the Roman Empire, magicians or sorcerers had not been tolerated. Another type of magic is Enochian magic. Enochian magic is a system of ceremonial magic based on invoking and commanding different spirits and entities. It is based on the writings of the 10th century of Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly, who claimed that their information, including the revealed Enochian language, was received by them directly from various angels. John Dee's writings include the angelic Enochian script, as well as the accompanying correspondence tables. Dee and Kelly believed that their visions had given them access to the secrets contained in the apocryphal book of Enoch. The Enochian magic system practiced today is primarily the product of the research and works of four men: John Dee, Edward Kelly, Samuel Liddell, McGregor Mathers, and Aleister Crowley. In addition, the research of Dr. Thomas Rudd, alias Ashmole, Dr. William Wynne Westcott, Teen Israel Regardi were an integral part of the development of Enochian magic, such as the Book of Soiga or Aldara, of which John Dee had a copy, the Ars, Kalina, and others, including the magical works of Agrippa and Rudd, probably also had an influence on the angelic magical works of Dee and Kelly. The Enochian magical system claims to refer to secrets contained in the apocryphal book of Enoch. There are several manuscripts of Enochian magic, Liber Logith, archived on January 14, 2012, at the Wayback Machine. The Book of the Speech of God, or the Book of Enoch, or Liber Mysterium, Sextus, Extus, Sanctus. The Sixth and Sacred Book of Mysteries in 1583 is kept at the British Museum. The correct spelling is Logith, but this has frequently been printed as Logith, so that this spelling has entered common usage, written by Edward Kelly. It is composed of 65 pages that contain 101 extremely complex magical squares. Mysteriorum Libre Quinqua, archived on April 10, 2012, at the Wayback Machine, at 5 books of mystery or mystical exercises. It is kept in the British Museum and is actually a journal dated December 22, 1581, May 23, 1583. Another Sloane manuscript, archived on December 30, 2011, at the Wayback Machine, comprises 48 angelic keys. The manuscripts are the Book of Earthly Science, Eden Victory on the Mystic Heptarchy, and Invocations of the Good Angels. Enochian magic was rediscovered by the occult movement, the Golden Dawn, in the 1880s through Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers. The movement also invented a game called Enochian chess, used in divination. The Golden Dawn, deriving from the name of Aldous Huxley's Occult Society, or the birth of the Aurora, based on the name of the Nissen Lodge of a German Masonic lodge in Frankfurt am Main at the beginning of the 19th century, in which the British Lord Bulwerlin was also initiated, was the name of a Rosicrucian occult and esoteric movement of the late 19th, early 20th century in Great Britain, founded by William Robert Woodman, William Wynne Westcott, and Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, Masons and members of the Societas Rosicruciana in Anglia. This secret society had a great impact in the 20th century on the occult movement in Europe. The first temple established by them was Isis Urania, located in London, and the first initiations took place in the year 188. The Golden Dawn movement aimed to be mainly a school dedicated to the study of the occult sciences, such as mysticism, Kabbalah, alchemy, theosophy, tarot, astrology, magic, or geomancy. The movement was founded especially due to the publication of some cipher manuscripts bought by Wynne Scott from an antique shop. Westcott, together with Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, decoded the manuscript, which contained 4 complicated rituals. In the manuscript, an address of a person, Anna Springle, from Germany, who held a secret magical order, was found. From her, they received approval to found another secret order called the Golden Dawn. The order offered a complex initiation, keen to magic, and had grades that could be likened to the Tree of Life. To obtain a new grade, practical and theoretical knowledge had to be acquired beforehand. To pass from one grade to another, the adepts had to practice a ritual in which each received different magical weapons. For each grade, there was a certain robe, emblem, symbol, motto, and so on. Shortly after, other temples were established: Osiris in Weston, the Temple of Horus in Bradford, Amun-Ra in Edinburgh, and the Temple of Hathor in Paris. Famous personalities were part of the Golden Dawn, such as the poet William Butler Yeats or the magician Lister Crowley, but also the 2 people who had a fundamental role in creating the Waite Tarot. Arthur Edward Waite, its creator at the level of concept and symbols, and Pamela Coleman Smith, the one who drew both the major and the minor arcana. The fact that even the minor arcana are illustrated represents one of the main innovations that this deck of cards brought to the historical evolution of tarot. The Golden Dawn was a society whose members believed in the existence not only of UFOs, but also of extraterrestrials. Other renowned members of the society were H.G. Wells, Bram Stoker, and Jules Verne. After a period of glory, starting in 1899, the Golden Dawn movement began to decline. This happened first after the death of Westcott and Woodman, when dissensions appeared among the adepts from the Isis Urania and Amun-Ra temples, many of them leaving the order. And second, due to Aleister Crowley, who published all the secret materials in his own magazine, Equinox. In 1903, some of the members who left founded the Stella Matutina movement, the Morning Star. At the end of the 1930s, most of the Stella Matutina temples closed or went into suspension, with the exception of the Hermes Temple in Bristol, which operated sporadically until 1970, and Smar in Havelock North, New Zealand, which operated regularly until its closure in 1978. At present, there are several organizations that have revived the original teachings and rituals of the Golden Dawn. Among these, the most notable are Order of the Golden Dawn, Collegium Spiritu Sancti, Temple of Ptah, Chicago, United States, Temple of Thoth, Hermes, Colorado, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Temple of Horus, or Open Source Order of the Golden Dawn. Dear friends, that's all for today.